when I'm puffing on a potent, silent, but I stay strapped. Gave her wood, now she talking about family tree. You know it ain't that. Ain't got time for the bad bees, dog. I got money on mine. Watch my chain too long, have me nervous. I put money on your mind. The Cali be potent, that girl is a bogus. I can't risk my seed. My heart too low, took L's like fug. Big slime soon free. Had to drop cause the fans they keep asking. You drop trash, had the fans all laughing. Disappeared and I
provider thing, and they're not even cheap. Certain arms make it mad expensive guns as well, but where this is a cheaper gun, I feel like what they went for is simplicity. They want the user to be able to kind of load quick, and if anything, hold on to this gun for a long time, because then you buy more mags from them, then you buy more attachments from them, then you buy backup parts. I might even go on the SPECNA Arms website and see if they provide backup parts to this, like a barrel or a gearbox or a stock, or do you know what I'm trying to say? Just little things, because I know some companies like Novarich and people like that, they make sure they provide your ability to continue maintaining the gun throughout several years. So yeah, so boom, let's get into it, man. I do want to show you guys this electric blowback system. Another thing I like is the pop chamber is so easy. You literally just push your hand through that bolt, just so you guys can see. Then that bolt literally comes out. Put that to one side so it's safe, and then this unit right here slides off. I've already installed a battery in here, so if you haven't already seen what this chamber really looks like, go into the other video, because I'm not going to really spend time showing you around this chamber. Like, it's like every G36s, not to sound rude, but yeah, it's like every G36s. I think the only difference I've seen with this one that I will speak about is with other G36s, there's almost like a battery chamber that you can slot the battery in. With this chamber, as you can see, it's kind of just like a barrel and an open space. So that's the one thing I would have said. But I think long term, what I will probably do is tape my battery in here, because then if my battery is just sitting in here like that, it would just be an easy connect, slide that back on, and we're done. Whereas right now I'm having to kind of hold the battery in place. But yeah, that's something I would do maybe before my next game, because I think my next game I might take this out and maybe use it for 2 games, just to be able to give some kind of feedback and review. And you want to obviously line that up, make sure your wires are kind of out the way. So guys, my phone is just beeping off like crazy tonight. You're saying the ladies want me tonight, and if you just see, slid on lovely. The biggest problem I would say is with this gun, you have to go for mini batteries like the one I've gone for. I used to have a slightly bigger battery in there. It does fit, but you just end up trying to funnel your wires down this, because if you notice the outer barrel slips out a bit, you end up funneling your wires down this side or down this side where they're a bit thicker. And the thing is, if you don't line that up too good, you're just gonna have problems. Like if you look, you can see I funneled my wires down the left hand side, and my battery's sitting basically in the middle, and that's only possible because it's such a small battery. If it was any thicker, because for example earlier I tried to put let me see if I can show you. I tried to put this battery in there because it's a 7.4, and it just did not want to work. So just so you see size comparisons difference, like that battery in there is probably about this tall and probably roughly about the same thickness, but just not round. Do you kind of get what I'm saying? So just to give you an idea, always go for smaller batteries. And to be fair, it's a 1100 milliamps, so I've lost 900 milliamps, but it's alright. If you buy 2 of them, it would last the whole day, game day, because that 1100 is what I used in this gun, and it did last 3/4 of the day. So that should kind of give you some reference to, is it worth buying? Because guys always ask me, is it worth going higher than 2200 milliamp? And I'm like, if you've got a big buffer stock, then yeah. If not, don't do it, because you're just going to have drama connecting your batteries, or you're going to have to run them externally and fold them into the gun, or cable tie them to the gun or something. It's just drama. Go for something that fits so that you can use your gun as it was intended. And then obviously, just to put this back together, you want to chuck this bolt right back through this hole on the side. Sometimes it might be an issue lining it up, because earlier I had some problems lining it up, but I noticed that I spun the gun to its side and I was able to see if the holes were lined up, and all you have to do is make sure the holes are lined up. like that, and then you can push it all the way through. If you're pushing it and it's not going through, stop forcing it. Just take it back out, move this up or down, and you'll notice it lines up with that hole, and then you can push it through. It also does run through the left or right side. That's one thing I did like. It's ambidextrous, and this side as well, ambidextrous, and same ambidextrous, so you can select from both sides. Which that was another winning feature for me with this gun, because I was like, if my M4 was like that, I would be over the moon. Even is my new M4 like that? I don't even think my new M4 is like that. Like the expensive one isn't ambidextrous. My SPECNA arms one here isn't ambidextrous, but I think it's the G36. Every G36 system I've seen is ambidextrous, unless it's like a £50 gun, because then they're literally building you the most basic thing that they can build you. Do you kind of get what I'm saying? So yeah. The last thing I kind of wanted to talk about before I show you shooting is they've got what's it called, a spring release button on this version. I'm going to show you how it works later. I feel like it's the best thing that's happened to G36 in a long time. Best thing that's happened in a long time, because what that means is your spring life will basically double, if not triple, because what tends to happen with these guns is where they're so high powered and they're built nice, they're really, really good guns. What tends to happen is like you'll damage your spring because there's no letdown. I know there's some companies like WE, their 99K, which is basically a G36 just under a different name. When you put the gun into this mode right here, so between safe and semi, what happens is you'll hear the spring decompress. So big up them for doing that. ASG, however, beautiful gun, probably one of the best versions apart from this G36 that I've seen. But great, like trust me, it's probably, before I saw this one, it was the number one on my list, the ASG version G36. I think it's called the G36C. The best that, yeah man, like it's we could sit here talking all day about it, one of the best. However, the one thing that they missed is there's no decompression on it. Even when you put it into this mode or put it into safe, or if you look underneath here, I might even do another comparison video where, because I sold it to one of my boys, so he has it now, but we'll do a comparison between this gun and that gun. You'll see it has no decompression. So the one thing I would say is the wear and tear on your spring is going to be a lot more higher. The only good thing I would say is about that gun, specifically to do with spring decompression, is with the back of the stock where the spring is accessible. With this one, there's a chamber that I have to take out. So if I remember correctly, I basically have to pull this down a certain way so that bolt isn't, let me see if I can show you guys. So that hole, the bolt that's in there is pushed down so this buffer tube thing can come out. Now that will give me access to my what's it called, what do you want to call it, the spring release kit, quick release spring guide system that's holding the spring in place. With this version, it's quite like, this isn't something I'd really do on the field, if you get what I mean, because you have to get right, lined up correct, or else it's not coming out. Like I remember when I was trying to find out what was wrong with the gun, it took me about 30-40 minutes to figure out how to do it, and I know airsoft, so that kind of did show me the average user would have problems. Now I know how to do it. You just have to press that down and kind of like slot this out slowly, like wobble it out left and right or up and down. But you have to be careful because there's a bolt thing that's holding it up, so that has to be pushed down. With the ASG version, their one, as soon as you pull the stock separate, so to the side, you have access to it. So I reckon that's why they probably didn't put the quick release, or not the quick release, why they didn't put the spring release system on this model, just because, well, on that model should I say, just because it's so accessible that in theory every single game, even when on the site, you could just open, like push your stock aside, push a screwdriver in and decompress your spring manually. So I guess that's what their plan was, like give the user the ability to take out the spring whenever, literally whenever they want to. Whereas this version, it gives you it built into the system, so you don't have to go too much into the internals. But yeah, so that's that. Apart from differences, like everything for me seems near enough the same, apart from it being metal or polymer. Those are the only two variances. The end flash hider is metal, which is one function that I did really appreciate about this gun, just because they didn't have to, but it makes its difference. It means that if you, I don't know, if you're running past something and you somehow manage to hit it across it all, you're going to lean on something to aim, and you manage to hit the front of your barrel before you get to lean on the thing properly. Because there's a lot of times you plot up on a barrel or the side of a tree, or you're in a container on the side of something trying to aim. It gives you the ability that if you hit the front of the gun, you're not really too worried, because you're hitting metal. You know what I'm saying? And because of the sound, it's like you can catch yourself easily and quickly and just be like, all right, let me fix up. Another thing I did really like is this gun has 2 sling points. Front, which I will have to test how sturdy that is, but it looks like it's connected into the body system, so it should be quite sturdy. And then obviously one at the back here. And then they do have another one at the back here if you're using long stock, which is cool. I'm not gonna lie, man, this gun really makes me want to make it my secondary. It just fits see if the stock was removed, it just fits the framework for like the perfect sidearm. You know what I'm saying? Reliable, small, weighty, but not too heavy. But anyways, let's keep this video moving. So I'm gonna show you semi, and we'll spin it this way so that you guys can see what I'm seeing. I want you guys to be able to enjoy this just like me. Try to hold this in a way that makes sense. So yeah, so if I flick that off safe into semi, you'll hear that click, and then if I shoot that, so do you see that blowback function? That's what you call electric blowback. And to be fair, it's a nice feeling, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, even if I press it up against chest, I was shooting it earlier like this, it's a nice sensation. It's not the most biggest recoil that you feel. It's an electric gun under 250. Do you get what I'm saying? It is what it is, but it is a nice, that's why I'm excited to play with it, because it just brings forth that nice feeling of realism. And then just so you guys can see it, I'm gonna flick that on auto. And this one was really cool, because earlier I was shooting it on auto, and one thing I did find is like I was almost imagining, I was like, in CQB that's gonna be so fun, because you're getting this realistic constant recoil, but it's a small nice sight that you can look down in, and it's a reliable semi and a reliable auto. So it really just made me, you know, when you get a gun, it reminds me of when I got this and I shot it, and I was like, ooh, this is gonna be reliable on the field. I'm gonna have a lot of fun with it. The thing I like about this, but that I don't like, is the semi is so smooth. It's such a reliable semi. The auto flows nice, but it's not the most responsive auto. The thing I like with this is you have the electric blowback system, so you get that realism. Then you've got the recoil. Then you've got the reliability, because it's electric, not gas. And then like it's just, yeah, then you got the TT shot, and then you got the fact that it's a Gen 3 gearbox, so it is gonna be a bit more reliable than say the Gen 2 that's in this. So it just makes for a whole better experience as a user, to be fair. So I'm gonna show you the auto. Ooh, what's going on here? Okay, there it is. I don't think I was clicking it all the way down. So if you see that, lovely. And the thing I like is, as if you watch this knob, sometimes it will open to that extent, sometimes it will be left at that extent, but that just depends on when you stop clicking or when you stop holding down the trigger, what position this found itself in, which I found very cool. And then obviously how the spring release works, I want to show you. Let me just chuck it back on semi quick. How the spring release works is, depending on how far your chamber's open, it will find a way to correct itself. Do you see that? So it literally just corrected itself, which means that now my spring is decreased, and you must hear that sound. If you don't hear that sound, it probably hasn't decompressed your spring again. So I'll show you one more time. So I'm gonna flick it on semi. You've given it a couple shots. Give it a couple shots. Throw it on auto. And then what we're gonna do is leave that on semi. I tend to leave on semi. You can do it while the gun's off, but and if you just hold that button down right at the bottom there, it corrects itself and decreases the spring. You can shut the gun off, pull out your battery and put it back into storage for safety. So yeah man, like I kind of wanted to do this video. Some people be like, oh, he's always talking about this gun specifically, but that's where you're wrong. I done the first review on it and I felt like I just didn't do it any justice. It was meant to be such an exciting gun to get, or such an exciting gun to be added to the stock, but because of all that happened, if you want to put, yeah, let's put it that way, because of all that happened, it ended up just not living up to what we expected. And that was, like I said, partly my fault just for throwing an 11.1, just getting excited. At the time I got the gun and I didn't own a 7.4, so I got excited and thought, oh, let me throw the 11.1 because the other G36 shoots 11.1, so this one should be fine. Turns out that is not the case. So always, not even just G36s, but any type of gun that uses batteries, always check the recommended voltage, because one thing I like about certain companies is, and I don't want to list any companies because I'm not getting paid for promo, but one thing I like about certain companies is they will tend to tell you 7.1 advised, but we'll run 11.1 for example, or some companies will just tell you strictly 7.4, don't go above, or 11.1. like I know, for example, my new gun, when I bought that new M4, they basically said to me it runs 11.1 but it will also shoot 7.4, whereas there's some guns that will say to you, we run 11.1, do not put 7.4 in us because you'll do damage to one of the electrical systems. I think why this one is 7.4 is because it's got an Asta trigger unit, electric trigger unit system, but it's got no MOSFET in here. So it's almost like they don't want you to throw more electric in there because it's going nowhere. It's just literally going to shred your plastic parts. Whereas if you did have a MOSFET in there, maybe I would get away with the 11.1 because, well, maybe that's a good point, you know, maybe that's why the other gun works with the 11.1, because the other gun has a MOSFET, which that's where the extra distribution of power would go. To be fair, it also has mental internals as well, so yeah, it could be anything. But yeah, for today guys, this is the SPECNA Arms SA AR G36. And to be honest, it's not the G36. Let me say that correct. So this is the SPECNA Arms SA AR-36. Yeah? Beautiful gun. Beautiful gun. Well worth the investment, people. But don't copy my version. Well, to be fair, by the time you guys see me on the field, this would look completely different. I really do think I might paint it just so I look different to everybody else on the field. Or I might just stamp it with the 107 stamps in certain places. We'll see, man. I'll have to use it a couple times because at this gun, I don't want to do too much to it yet. I want to use it. And then when the exterior looks broke up, then I will start painting it and doing things to it. Probably the same with this one. So yeah, thanks for having me, peeps. Like, share, subscribe. And if you want to see more content like this, give us a shout, because I've got a lot more guns coming this year on the channel. Not necessarily for me. I think some stuff I'm going to order for giveaways. Some companies have promised to send me, so I'm going to review them for them and stuff like that. So yeah, man, I look forward to it. Until we next meet, people, like, share and subscribe. It's your boy Yardman Leng and I'm out.
Past actions, ish I had to do. If we unified, we overcome slavery. Many think it, I just say it, call it bravery. Young, progressive and black, you know they hate to see. Independent, I don't care what labels could pay a G. So much Leng past my lung. Private company feeding us GMO foods, they wanting us trapped. My young boy just came home for booting, that young nigga tapped. Can't be slipping when I'm puffing on a potent, silent but I stay strapped. Gave her wood, now she talking about family tree, you know it ain't that. Ain't got time for the bad bees, dog, I got money on mine. Watch my chain too long, have me nervous, I put money on your mind. The Cali be potent, that girl is a bogus, I can't risk my seed. My heart too low, took L's like fug. Big slime soon free. Had to drop cause the fans they keep asking. You drop trash, had the fans all laughing. Disappeared and I